Please remember that the Lucy Pod is not a replacement for professional medical advice. If you have questions or concerns about your own amazing brain, please speak to a medical professional. I wish to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I speak to you all today, the peoples of the Kulin Nation. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Okay, good. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Lucy Pod ADHD Decoded series, where we decode ADHD coded myths, legends, figures and characters in the world of books and cinema. Today's character is Spider-Man, in particular Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man character. And of course we have our Marvel specialist and guest Trent, who will be decoding Mr. Parker with me. Hey Trent, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, what's up? I'm good. I really don't like the word Marvel specialist. It sounds a bit too special, but that's okay.
Well, you're a Marvel nerd.
I'm just someone who's like watched a lot of movies.
You're very into it though.
I used to be, yeah. Like back in high school.
Last year.
I haven't seen the last Ant-Man or the last Guardians.
You watched all of them back with me.
Yeah, but that was only...
And you were like, did you see
but
this?
But that was only up until a certain point. My point is I haven't seen any Marvel movies this year.
Why are you ashamed of being a Marvel nerd?
Well, because now they're all shit, isn't it?
But why don't you embrace your nerdiness?
Oh, I mean, I was super into it during high school.
No, they're good fun. They're great fun.
But the last one we saw together was Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, well,
and that
I sobbed.
When, like, November or something?
No, it was Deaths this year.
It was this year?
Yeah, Wakanda Forever. Yeah. Anyway.
So, what about Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. So I'm actually going to have you, Trent, give us a brief rundown and character profile on Pete Parker.
Pete.
So, I'm calling him Pete, isn't it?
No, it's Peter. It's always Peter. It's never Pete.
Can't I call him Pete?
You can call him Pete, but I think his name's Peter.
But can't I say Pete? Like a nickname?
You could say Pete.
Okay, yeah. So thank you. So go for it.
Wow, you really caught me on the spot. In the MCU, he's like not bitten by a spider. I don't think he's just really smart, and then he like makes his own web stuff, and then
you were really good at the Iron Man one, and for this one he was like does web.
I don't know. He just sort of like is smart, and then he makes web fluid, and then gets hired to the Avengers. It's all like I guess you can't just watch the films. I was about to say, just go watch the films.
And then come back to this episode.
I guess the point is that I'm supposed to summarize them. But yeah, he like gets hired through like doing antics, and they're captured on social media, and then Tony Stark recruits him for his like brawl sessions with his
like an
friends.
Internship almost.
Well, they lie and call it an internship. In the films, remember, covered up, he's like,
yeah,
it's the Stark internship.
That's
really,
right.
It's the Avengers.
Yeah. The Avengers internship.
Yeah. But yeah, he was like in the Avengers, but not often. Most of the time you see him, he's still in high school and like just dealing with typical high school problems, like being a loner and having no friends. Not a loner, but like a loser, and like
a dag.
He has like his enemies like Flash that like make fun of him. Even though Flash is also on the trivia team.
I was going to say he's also on the spectrum. I don't know why. It's like,
no, on the trivia team, right? And they go do
that's right.
Trivia or something.
And he's got a crush on what's her face, Zendaya.
It's like a typical high school.
He's a typical American boy.
Trilogy of just like, I know there's like, well, the last one's weird. There's like magic and all kinds of things going on.
But basically, he's a boy. He's a bit of a nerd.
Right, yeah, as a character. Yeah, no, he's like into like Star Wars, which is just Disney cross promotion. What's your first question?
So, well, that was that. That was a really unenthusiastic character profile. So, thank you so much for that. Thank you.
It's Spider-Man. We all know Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know, but some people don't. Some people actually don't. Some people are like, what's Marvel? What's that? I swear, people are like that. I didn't know who the hell what's-his-face was. I don't know half of the characters when we were watching, Wakanda Forever, and I've seen Black Panther. I still call him Black Panther. I don't know much. Anyway, I actually found a really cute video on YouTube, and it's called Peter Parker being ADHD for 5 minutes straight or something like that. And it is really funny and relatable, and it made me realize how much more I actually relate to him than I do Iron Man, who I also believe is ADHD coded, which is odd because they are both blokes, and I don't relate to men, obviously, because I mean, it's
You're
a bit
not a
odd.
man.
Well, I'm not a man, and well, I mean that doesn't mean I can't relate to men, but I don't really relate to male characters much. But I think because they're ADHD, I feel like I can relate, and also because Peter Parker's a young guy, it kind of works. So, in the video, it shows that he's always losing his backpack. Apparently, that's like an ongoing theme.
Oh yeah, that is like a recurring gag that they use.
He's always like, "Oh, my backpack," and that's like a recurring theme.
Yeah, and he
with
says
me.
something to his aunt at some point, and he's
Yeah.
like, "May, I'm gonna need a new backpack." And she's like, "Again?" So you just like assume that it's happened before.
Yeah. He's always forgetful. Like he's always running late to something. I've noticed. Like there's always
Right.
like
Yeah. A lot of his
"Oh my
character
God."
has him like stumbling over his words,
Yes.
being like awkwardly charismatic,
yeah.
but like just doing things awkwardly.
Great.
Does that make him ADHD?
Well, going on, he's always playing with his hands or doing something with his hands when talking to someone, apparently, which is it can be an ADHD trait, doing something else with your hands to focus on the conversation. He talks to himself a lot, like when he's doing projects.
True. Yeah.
Which is a case of, it could be just him talking to himself, but I feel like a lot of some ADHDers, including myself, I like to talk to myself when I'm getting down to a task, so I actually know what I'm doing. Like I can't go in blindly. I need to talk through my actions and the steps. He gets overexcited, and as a result, he then rambles and stutters over his words because he's talking faster than his ADHD brain can compute and produce the words. He's impulsive. Like he came on that field trip to come work with Tony Stark when like Tony told him not to. He left the field trip. Remember? And he like went and saw Tony. He like skipped. He like left, and Tony was like to him, "Why did you come?" Do you remember? Oh my God, he's like making a face like I don't remember.
The ferry.
I don't know if it was the ferry.
When the ferry got split in half.
Or maybe it was that one as well. But like he's impulsive. Like he's always getting involved in things that he shouldn't get involved in.
Yes, that's true.
Which is like dangerous.
He's definitely impulsive.
And I think also the fact that he just idolizes Tony Stark, who's ADHD coded. Maybe he sees him as a mentor.
That's part of the relationship.
And he's like, if this icon who's ADHD can do such amazing things and build such amazing things, then why can't I be like that? And kind of looks up to him like a brother. And I think the main thing is also that he just has the typical like ADHD sort of golden retriever boy thing, because boys are like really lovable when they're ADHD and autistic. Like they're presented as goofy and sort of awkwardly charming. So what do you think about these symptoms, these observations? Get into it. Do you agree? Do you think that those things that I listed make him ADHD? Keeping in mind, this is all in good fun. We don't actually know if he's ADHD, the character, but I think he's def's ADHD coded. So what do you think?
Some of those are really good examples, like him leaving his backpack, being impulsive and like stuttering over his words. Like the way the character is framed a lot of the time is definitely that like bumbling sort of energy, which a lot of the time I would typically read it as just like that nerd sort of energy, because that's like the type of appeal that it's going for, is the like, oh, this kid that's like, you know, he's not really like into sports, even though he's like ripped and super athletics.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't really make sense, but like, oh, he's not into sports or whatever.
But he can like, you know, swing from buildings and fight people.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I interpret that sort of like awkward social energy with being like a nerd, because like I guess like being a nerd means you don't interact with people, you have like less social experience. But it could also be a ADHD coded thing.
Well, I was going to ask, do we think that the way nerds are sometimes represented are almost autistic coded? Like, if you watch shows like The Big Bang Theory, and that's like a really annoying example of nerds, but like, I feel like a lot of them look like they're on the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, that's the most like obvious example. Like, and I'm pretty sure the Big Bang Theory like writers have said, yeah, they're like all autistic. Like that's the point of the show.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. But no, I think there is definitely a great overlap between like typical nerd characters
and then autism
and
or ADHD.
like, yeah, the spectrum.
Do you think it's in his case, or do you just think it's just awkward and
Peter Parker?
Yeah. More so than what do you think between him and Iron Man from our last step?
Yeah, well, comparing Iron Man directly, I'd say Iron Man definitely isn't like autistic coded, really.
No, ADHD, I'm saying.
Yeah. ADHD though, I think the case for Tony Stark is a lot stronger.
Really? Okay, why?
Just given his he also does that like monologuing thing where he speaks to himself and jumps from one subject to another, sort of like in a classic, you know, like distracted by a butterfly or a squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. Yeah, he does. He does.
But, yeah, Tony Stark, I feel like, is more likely to do that than Peter Parker. Although, maybe it also, they're different ages, right? So, like, Peter's more of a kid, and he's, like, very respectful and polite a lot of the time. Yeah. Which I'm not sure if being polite and respectful makes you ADHD.
No, not necessarily.
I think that's just part of his character.
That's just his personality. Yeah.
That he's very respectful and polite.
Yeah. He's not as arrogant as Tony Stark as well.
Yeah. But, like, in saying that, his first introduction, like, the Avengers in Civil War, he says, he steals Captain America's shield, and he says, like, oh, hey, Cap, nice to meet you. Nice shield, by the way. Or he, like, compliments it in some way.
Yeah.
And then later on in that, while he's fighting, he, like, talks about he's from Queens, and Cap's from Brooklyn, and, like...
Yeah.
Cap even says to him, like, oh, you talk too much, or, like, didn't Tony tell you you're not supposed to talk? Like, this isn't how this normally goes. Which I guess maybe... And then that... I guess, in a way, this sort of links to him being a kid and appealing to a lot more of the younger audience. In the way that, like, he has that, like, oh, he doesn't know how this is supposed to work.
Like a golden retriever energy. Yeah.
And a lot of the time he's written as somebody who doesn't have a lot of life experience. Like, he's
because he's
learning.
Literally a teenager.
Yeah. And a big part of his character development is, like, the learning and coming of age. Also, when we did the Tony Stark episode, spoilers, he's dead. So we got to see the full character.
True.
And we actually know where he started and where he finished, in a sense. Whereas I feel like there's still a lot more that they're going to do with Tom Holland's Peter Parker. But that being said, that makes me think of the third Spider-Man. Actually had a few product placement sponsors from TikTok in it. Which makes me think of the appeal to the younger audience. Clearly, they knew their market. They put in, like, TikTok as a direct, like, advertisement.
And we know how I feel about
2 or
TikTok.
3 times in the third Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And then in the first Spider-Man movie or in Civil War, it's implied that, like, there was YouTube videos of him swinging throughout Brooklyn that got him attention as, like, the
That's
Spider-Man.
how I actually got diagnosed with ADHD. People saw videos of me swinging from a building, and my parents saw it and were like, we should get her diagnosed. So it's a very common trajectory for people with ADHD.
Yeah.
So where are you going with this?
So in that way, hold on, let me land the plane here.
Yeah.
So in that way, we see often the writers are trying to appeal to a younger audience.
Yeah.
A person who's still learning. And sort of like the Zoomer, TikTok, YouTube generation.
Yeah.
And I feel like a big
Teeny
part
bobs.
of that. Yeah. And a big part of that and the to appeal to that audience is sort of like that crazy Zoomer energy where you're sort of like stumbling over yourself and you're not sure of
that
yourself.
That like Disney Channel humor of like being random, of like,
yeah,
oh,
I mean,
like
it is
iCarly.
a Disney property.
It is a Disney. It's like iCarly, like, oh, so random, like, woo.
So it's like an evolution of that in a way. And then going back to your episode on TikTok about how, like, just, you know, self-diagnosing through like random you know, things that don't really
have nothing to do with anything.
Any real indication of
anything.
Yeah. Be ADHD or anything else that people on TikTok like to claim that they have.
Yeah.
So to land the plane here, the many character moments of Peter Parker sort of being like random or shy, awkward, polite, funny
quirky.
In different ways, like that quirky Zoomer energy that he gives off, to me reads maybe more as a broad market appeal to the younger generation. And because of that, for you, you see him as ADHD, whereas somebody else might just see him as like a relatable tween who's like, oh, he's the same as me, which is like the intention of the character
That's
writing.
the whole
Because in a way, we are like the targeted audience, especially like 5 or 6 years ago when the first Spider-Mans with Tom Holland.
No, and even like teenage girls looking at him and be like, I want a boyfriend like that. It's a whole I definitely agree with. And what I would ask you and even just listeners, do you think, regardless of what the goal is, whether the goal is to show him as this, let's say the goal is to show him as this relatable, sort of awkward, social media, zeitgeisty sort of character, do you think that just that inadvertently they make them coded? Because for me, I don't think all characters are coded like that on purpose. I think some characters are just written in that way and the writers don't actually realise that they're giving them ADHD traits.
Yeah, for sure.
So you think with him it's inadvertent? I
think with him, it's sort of like a Venn diagram.
Right.
One side is ADHD codings.
Yeah.
And the other side is like a Zoomer young person who's on.
So they didn't do it
on the internet, like an internet connected young adult.
Yeah. So you don't think the writers made him coded?
And the overlap in the middle, that is Spider-Man. The overlap of those two circles of an internet coded young adult and ADHD on one side. Maybe no, because that would still imply that they took a portion of ADHD traits.
That's why I'm asking, like, do you think they took those traits or they just used those traits without knowing that there sometimes can be a trait?
Yeah, there is a trait between, like, internet-connected young individuals and ADHD traits that overlap.
Okay.
And Spider-Man took a lot of those traits.
Inadvertently.
Yeah.
With Tony Stark, do you think that he actually is... I genuinely do think that the writers intended him to be ADHD, but they just don't say it. So do I,
in a way. Yeah.
Like, you know how even some characters, like, even if you ask the authors at, like, I don't know, like, Comic-Con or whatever, even they kind of say, like, we kind of... Do you think him over Spider-Man?
Yeah, I definitely think Tony Stark is more heavily
written.
Again, even if they never overtly once said to themselves, even to themselves, this character is going to be ADHD, they're going to act like this. If their style guide for that character said, we're going to write him in such a way that he's forgetful or does this, that, and that,
or whatever,
and they just list off a bunch of ADHD traits, even if they didn't say this character is ADHD, what they've done there is
they've coded him.
A character.
Do you think it's better to just have coded characters, or do you think that there should be like a little mention that like sprinkle it in there that Peter Parker or like Tony Stark's ADHD?
Yeah.
Or do you think it doesn't matter unless it's pertinent to the plot?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to covertly or overtly doing something, right? So in some instances, in some characters and movies and stories, whether it's pertinent to the plot or the story, is this character's identity of being ADHD something that resolves within the story,
or moves the story
to advance
along.
the character. Yeah. So for your life, Lucy, the Lucy pod, clearly it's very important. So to write Lucy without saying that she's ADHD, you're sort of missing the point. But to somebody else, maybe
doesn't define them.
Yeah, not in the same way, but if that's not the goal of the character, to be like having representation for that, then you don't need to covertly say
it. Yeah.
Like something that Disney does a lot is
racism.
Well, yeah, no, literally that's where I was going to go.
Oh, okay, yeah. Coding like certain races to be a certain way.
What they try to do is to change a lot of their auxiliary characters that it doesn't really matter who they are to the plot. Like The Little Mermaid is obviously a very recent. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm not shutting you down, but I'm so bored over that conversation. But go on. I don't want to talk about it. But in this case, go for it. They're deliberately
making a stance there by changing her to be black. Whereas in a lot of other cases, Disney will change.
Can I say it makes sense for her to be black? Like Sebastian's in the Caribbean. Like he's from the Caribbean with his little accent. She should be black. Anyway, go on.
That makes sense.
No, Under the sea.
I haven't even thought about it. I'm just using this as an example.
No. I know you are. Go on.
They will change auxiliary characters to be black or Hispanic, or because it doesn't really matter to the plot what race they are. They're just people, right? So it's very easy to have representation and for Disney to look good by changing the
Now
race
they do that.
of these in the last like 10, 15 years. You know?
Yeah.
And so it's very easy for them to show their representation and diversity by changing these auxiliary characters. In the same way, you could have these characters be coded in such ways, in which they often are in like a Disney-style movie. You have the bumbling, like, idiot friend who's like a goofster.
Or even like the Seven Dwarves.
Yeah,
No,
that's
but
a little bit
the one with the
different.
stutter and like calling him like dopey.
Yeah, well, that's like
That's
1920s
Yeah,
fairy
but that's-
tale.
that's-
more problematic.
That's egregious. Like
Yeah,
they were
that's-
like, let's
That's very different.
let's be
from what I'm
inclusive.
talking about.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. I just don't think. It's great they're doing it now, but I think they're just trying to.
I guess my point here is,
I think they're just trying to look good.
whether they're covertly or overtly writing ADHD or autistic or whatever characters, neurodiverse characters, I think they will probably go about it in a similar way to which they show racial diversity, in which they don't overtly address it unless the media does.
But is that a
and they
good or
just
bad
change.
thing, though? Do you
I
think
don't
there
know.
should be more ADHD characters? And you don't have to say yes, and you don't have to just because you're on here. But I have a gun. I don't have a gun held to you.
I think representation in all forms is important. So representation for race has seen a lot of movement, which is great. And then I've seen a lot more like ableism and like inclusivity in terms
No,
of
you
like,
haven't seen ableism. You've seen ableism is discrimination against people with
Well, the
disabled.
opposite of that.
You're like, it's been really good to see like
more disabled characters.
Yeah,
or people with
more
like, physical
disabled,
afflictions.
inclusive. Yeah.
And so
It's like I've seen more racism. It's great.
the logical step to that is
Yeah.
like neurodiverse characters. But I think that's just, it's less overt when they appear on screen because you can't tell if a person's neurodiverse by looking at a poster. You have to actually go watch the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
I think if
So-
we have the capacity to write mentally ill characters, which I think we're able to do a lot better now, I think that we could
There
do
are
the
plenty
same.
of them, and there have been plenty of them.
Oh, and that are explicitly
Like
said.
even something like Taxi Driver. You can make an analysis of that.
Oh, yeah.
For,
Yeah.
Like neurodiversity, or even like The Shining, or like a lot of
I
these
really
times,
don't want to be
these
linked
neurodiverse
to
characters are
Don't say
vilified.
neurodiverse when they hurt people. That's
Yeah,
not.
well, that's what I'm saying is, if we look at older movies like 80s and 90s, they're the villains.
Yes.
The neurodiverse characters.
Or mentally ill characters. Yeah.
More recently, they're like the heroes. The Whale last year is an amazing example of like
depressed-
obviously an eating disorder which leads to like depression and whatever else.
Well, it started
But
with
that
depression,
character-
though. It started with depression with Charlie.
True, because he lost someone.
And
so that type of representation through like mental whatever, like that's great, writing diverse characters like that. And there are plenty more, like say what you want, The Good Doctor is like a very mainstream example
terribly
of autism.
written, though.
Terribly written for some, same as like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. Problematic, terribly written for some.
Yeah.
But they exist.
I think what a show that did mental illness well, even though it's not ADHD, was in Normal People, Connell, and his depression and anxiety.
Oh yeah, sure.
I think that was a really well done and written example of writing mental illness. And I think that if you can do, because it's great to have like, I think it's great to show depression and anxiety and autism in characters, but I've yet to see like an ADHD character. Because what my worry is about if we have an ADHD character is they're going to be the hot mess friend, or they're going to be like the black friend who's like the quirky sidekick who like snaps her fingers and is like, I forgot to take my meds. Like I feel like that's what it would be. Saying that, I have hope that they would write some decent people, or maybe instead of me just complaining and saying I'd hope, I should maybe write an ADHD. What do you think? Do you think that would happen? Like a sassy sidekick from being like...
Yeah, for sure. I
That's
think
aggravating.
I think there are examples of ADHD like friends in shows,
Really?
like you're talking about. Yeah,
explicitly
I just
said like...
Yeah, I think there are. I just can't think of any right now. Whether it be like Jessica Jones or like in Shang-Chi, like his annoying wife, maybe.
not great.
I
But
don't remember.
Like, and like same with like autism, it's like they're either like, you know, violent, like
But I'm
in
not
Of
sure if
Mice
they
and
were
Men.
explicitly said.
Oh, okay, because then that's great. It's like, oh, by the way, this serial killer character, they're autistic, and this really annoying, dumb person is ADHD. I don't want that.
Yeah. No, no one wants that.
I love how you brought up The Shining.
We've gotten very far away from Spider-Man.
No, we've gone far away. No, but that's the whole point. So, conclusion. What is your diagnosis? If you had to say he is ADHD, yes or no? One answer.
No.
No. Okay. I think yes.
I think I should have done more research and watched some Spider-Man films.
See, this is why I have a script tonight and I prepare for my episodes.
I knew we were doing a Spider-Man
Yeah.
episode.
I actually take my podcast seriously, unlike some other people. Yeah.
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 Well, it's fine. It's not my podcast.
Phone in the arse.
Even though I edit every episode.
Literally, and you do the music for it, but
Yeah.
that's besides the point.
But
Yeah.
I think from memory and from the examples you've given, I don't think that's a strong enough case to make him ADHD.
Okay, fair enough.
But that being said, I feel like that also may have something to do with, I don't know the character as well as, say, Tony Stark, where I feel like I was able to, like...
I do.
I'm confident
No,
in
you know
saying
what?
Tony
I
Stark
agree
is
with you.
ADHD.
I think that Tony Stark is more ADHD than, like, Peter
Do you know
Parker.
who's ADHD?
Who?
Ned, his best friend.
You reckon?
Yeah. Well, why not?
Why? Because you love him? You know what my problem is? I'm looking at every character I love and I'm like, ADHD. Like, I'm going to say that Jimmy
Yeah, that's
is
what I'm doing
ADHD.
right now. Yeah.
You reckon he is, though? But do you actually think he is?
Maybe. Okay, so he's like also into Star Wars. He's the man in the chair. He's not as forgetful, but he's smart.
He's hopeful.
He's I don't know.
Stop
Yeah,
describing
he's
me.
not-
I'm kidding. No, he's not. You just love him.
I really can't think of anything that makes him ADHD coded. But if they said that, like, hey, Ned is like ADHD, like, that would be an awesome character. And
Absolutely, I would love it.
Like-
I would want that. Yeah.
whatever
But
else.
now we're just deciding, like Sandor Clegane is ADHD coded. Like, he's not.
yeah,
He's not dead. by the way.
Lucy's really into
Game of Thrones. It's my guys. It's my new, and you are too. Excuse me.
yeah. But that has nothing to do with
No, it has nothing to do with Spider-Man. But yeah, so I agree with you. I do think that Peter Parker just demonstrates some ADHD traits, but out of him and Tony, I'm gonna say that it's
Iron Man.
It's Iron Man. It's the tones.
The
The tones. Well, thank you so much again for coming on this episode and sharing your wisdom as a Marvel expert. Next episode I'm doing, I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be with somebody. It'll be with a guest, so you have something to look forward to. Do not forget to like and follow me on Facebook and on Instagram at The Lucy Pod. And don't forget to follow me on all of your favorite streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And now, fun fact, I am on YouTube at The Lucy Pod. I have a YouTube channel, so you should definitely go and watch my video and subscribe and enjoy and take care of yourselves, and bye.
Bye.
Bye.